Sports Court.
With sports, just like everything else these days, everyone's got an opinion.
But just like everything else, those opinions are wrong.
Exactly.
So Mark and I have, out of the kindness of our hearts, come to Sports Court week after week to settle those discussions once and for all.
You're welcome.
So here's a collection of powerful arguments from some of the greatest minds of our time. Oh man, whoever wrote this on the teleprompter is a little much, but thank you for the flattery.
So enjoy and remember these points the next time you're arguing with your friends so you can dominate in the official court of sport.
The Sports Court Special is in session. All rise. He's Mark Skol Jr.
And he's Jamal Spencer. Sports Court is in session.
Sports Court. On the docket tonight in Sports Court, what's the best high school football stadium in West Michigan? We brought this up because West Ottawa is building a brand new football and soccer facility for their athletic teams. They're going to put these pictures up right now so you can take a look. This is what they will be opening up at the West Ottawa Stadium. That is nice. This might become the best high school football stadium in West Michigan. But for right now, the one I'm going to take, I'm looking at Comstock Park. I really like the Panther setup. You got a really nice set of stands on one side. You got some bleachers on the other. You got some trees in the background, a nice video board, big track going around the football field. Tons of kids always run around. It's schools like Comstock Park and Byron Center as well, of course, that have that big community feel at their athletic events. I really dig that. I'm going with Comstock Park.
I want to preface this by saying I've only been to one high school football stadium so far in my 2 months here working in West Michigan, but I don't think I need to see anything else. It's Hackley Stadium, clearly. I'm a big fan of history and historic places, and I've been told Hackley Stadium is very similar to a Wrigley Field, Fenway Park kind of vibe. It's got all the stands on one side of the field, which is very unique, very cool. Plus, they've been able to modernize it with the turf, too. This is the best stadium in West Michigan. I don't even think I need to see anything else. What's the best environment to watch a football game in, would you say?
Muskegon's up there because those fans know football. They're passionate. Mona Shores is up there. For me, one of the coolest environments is Byron Center because it's like the entire community comes out. Kids running all over the place, playing tag, playing catch. The fans are fired up. Byron Center does it right. That is a really cool high school football place. But I gotta ask, Mark, you're from Texas, so they do high school football differently down there. What are you used to seeing when you look at high school football stadiums?
Well, I'm used to the big time, like 18,000 people in the stands, which is just crazy. And it's ridiculous that's what it's like there. But that Allen High School in Dallas, Texas, 18,000 people go to those games every single Friday night. That's where Kyler Murray went to school. Texas, they do it really big there.
It's hard to miss with this one. People are going to be fired up to defend their favorites, and there's a lot of them. It's just about what you prioritize. I love that Comstock Park area. I love that stadium. I love that environment. It's very hard to miss on this one.
It's got to be Hackley Stadium. I love history. They've been playing football there for over 100 years, which is just super cool in its own right. They've won the most games in the state of Michigan. It's just historic, and that's where you want to go see a football game on Friday night, and I can't wait to get out there.
So now it goes to your verdict.
Head to our Facebook page to comment. Next week, we'll highlight our favorites. Last week, we asked about the Lions being on HBO's Hard Knocks, and everyone agreed with Nate.
Dave said it's a chance for the Lions to show what kind of potential they have and maybe even earn a little respect.
Christopher is looking at it from an evaluation standpoint. It will show the fans if they are headed in the right direction with this regime.
And lastly, Herb weighed in with what could be a distraction at times, but I think it's a good thing.
And I think it's a good thing if you join us again next week. Until then, Sports Court is adjourned. All rise. He's Jamal Spencer.
And he's Mark Skol Jr. Sports Court is in session. This week, we're going to put you in the Wayback Machine and ask you if you could change history, how would you do it? And no, we're not looking for all of you who are going to say, well, if Coach would have put me in back in high school, we would have won state. Everyone thinks they would have won state. You weren't going to win state. If you could reverse one Michigan sports moment, what would it be? If I could change any Michigan sports moment, it would be that car accident involving Sergei Monotsikhanov and Vladimir Konstantinov. I think he would have become one of the best defensemen in potentially NHL history. Pairing with Nick Lidstrom would have made the Red Wings an even bigger dynasty than they became. That car accident, if I could change that, I would do that.
for me, the sports moment that I would change is Isaiah Thomas not making the dream team in 1992. It's maddening to me that a guy like Isaiah Thomas, who I think is the second best point guard of all time, doesn't get into the dream team over guys like John Stockton, Chris Mullin, Clyde Drexler, all great players, all Hall of Famers. But Isaiah Thomas was so good, and it's just because he wasn't liked by Michael Jordan. The craziest thing about it, Chuck Daly, the guy who Isaiah Thomas helped win 2 NBA Finals, was the coach of that team. Now, how does he not make it over all those other guys? He was so good, and it's a shame because it still bums him out to this day that he didn't make that dream team, and I think he would have been great.
And it's not even John Stockton. I mean, Isaiah should have got in over a guy like Christian Laettner, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, Shaq was an option there, but that was with them. They wanted to get a college guy on the team to kind of keep the tradition going of the college guys. So I kind of get it because back then Christian Laettner was the guy in college, but Shaq should have got in and over him. It was just mistakes all around on that dream team in 1992. And the sad thing is, everyone always talks about that being one of the best teams of all time. And the fact that Isaiah Thomas is not on that team, it's just heartbreaking. And that's coming from a Bulls fan as well. Are there any other Tigers moments? To me, I always think of the Jim Joyce call on the Galarraga perfect game. Obviously, that was a big one as well.
What happens if Torrey Hunter makes that catch out in right field, robs Big Papi of a home run in the ALCS against the Boston Red Sox? Maybe the Tigers go to a World Series. But that Galarraga one, that's a pretty good one. That's a perfect one. What's your verdict? Who do you think made the better argument?
Head to the 13 on Your Side Facebook page to comment. Next week, we'll highlight our favorites.
Last week, we wondered which Detroit team will make the playoffs first.
Dave kind of agreed with me, I suppose, saying there isn't much happening for Detroit sports teams. All have pretty much been train wrecks for a while. And at this point, the Lions have at least a little bit of hope.
That's showing some optimism. Speaking of which, Craig may be going overboard with it. Lions, Pistons, Red Wings, all this upcoming season.
No faith in the Tigers, I guess, huh?
I want what Craig's drinking.
Bringing us back down to earth, Robert asked, do they have a Little League team?
Ouch. Well, they seem to have the best chance. And you'll have another chance to join us next week. Until then, Sports Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Sports Court is in session. Because it is August, we must be talking about college football. The coaches poll came out. It says that the Michigan Wolverines will start the year 6th, while the Michigan State Spartans will start the year at 14th. Who will end the season ranked higher? I gotta go with Michigan State. Let me just present you with a couple of facts. Michigan has to replace their defensive coordinator, their offensive coordinator, their defensive line coach, 2 generational pass rushers, and the best running back they've had since Mike Hart. All of that is gone. Because of that, I think Michigan State's gonna end up better than they are at the end of the season.
Well, you didn't even say anything about Michigan State being good. I mean, I know they beat the Wolverines last year, but they couldn't finish it. They couldn't beat Purdue. Michigan's clearly the better team. They beat Ohio State last year. They went to the college football playoff. That's a pretty big deal. Yes, they lost a lot of guys, but they replenished and reloaded. The offensive line won the Joe Moore Award last year. Michigan, they look really good. I don't know if Michigan State can say the same.
I'm glad you brought up that Ohio State game, Mark, because all of a sudden I'm supposed to care about what Michigan did last year. Just like you noticed, I didn't talk about what Michigan State did last year. This is a new season, and without all of those great players, Michigan has to go to Columbus, and they haven't won there since the year 2000. A lot has changed since the last time the Wolverines got a victory there. Meanwhile, Ohio State has to come to East Lansing. Spartans always play the Buckeyes better at home. Plus, the Spartans return all Big Ten wide receiver Jaden Reed, quarterback, and Peyton Thorne. But the defense is going to be better because it can't be worse because they were one of the worst defenses in the country last year and still won a New Year's Six bowl. But when you look at this Michigan team and all they've lost, doesn't that concern you?
No, it's not going to be easy, but I think Michigan has all the pieces. They've been recruiting well. Jim Harbaugh knows what he's doing. It's a hungry football team. They made it to the college football playoffs and got their butts kicked. And I think they want to get back and do even more. Like you said, last year is in the past, but they want to right those wrongs from last year and make it back to the college football playoff and win a national championship.
Overall, I think both Michigan and Michigan State end up in the top 15. So we're really arguing semantics here. But the bottom line is, if Mel Tucker's 2-0 against Jim Harbaugh and the Wolverines, you got to pick Michigan State going into that game. And because the Wolverines haven't won in Columbus since 2000, it's kind of hard not to pick Ohio State against the Wolverines. So those two things considered, I got Michigan State finishing better than Michigan this season.
Well, Michigan made it to the college football playoff. I don't think I need to say anything else. They were one of the top 4 teams in the country last season, and you're getting J.J. McCarthy, Cade McNamara back, and I think J.J. McCarthy ends up taking over the reins of the starting quarterback and ends up being really good, and I think that ends up vaulting Michigan maybe into the college football playoff conversation again.
Now we turn it over to you, our very passionate jury at home. Head to the 13 on Your Side Facebook page to comment, and next week we'll highlight our favorites.
Last week we talked best high school football stadium in West Michigan. The bulk of the people agreed with me, Hackley Stadium.
Muskegon always shows up. Heath agreed everyone aspires to play and win at Hackley, regardless if you are a Big Red or not.
And Christopher looks at it from a different perspective. From a player's perspective, I liked East Kentwood, Hudsonville, and Granville.
Some of the best schools, especially some of those big OK Red schools. Others that got shout-outs, Bob Perry and Lowell, Hausman, Russell E. Erickson at Oak Ridge, and some Kent City.
Until next week, Sports Court is adjourned. Sports Court is in session.
Sports Court on the docket tonight. Can Western Michigan upset the Spartans in the season opener? Tim Lester's program has done just that. A year ago, they beat an 11-win ACC champion Pitt team on the road. I don't think they're going to be intimidated by walking into the woodshed in Spartan Stadium. Ladarius Jefferson played for the Spartans. He's going to want revenge.
Western Michigan has not defeated the Spartans since 1919. That was over 100 years ago. Are you kidding me? Michigan State's not going to lose.
Don't you think the Broncos have the coaching inside track? Because the Spartans quarterback, his dad is the Broncos offensive coordinator.
Well, I'd hope that Peyton's not talking to his dad for the next few weeks. But he's an offensive guy. Peyton's an offensive guy. He's not going to be able to stop him defensively.
When you look at the talent of these two rosters, of course, Michigan State will be the favorite. But you could have said that going into that ACC challenge at Pitt last year. Pitt was loaded, and Western put up 44 points on the road. This Broncos team is definitely dangerous. I think they can definitely upset the Spartans, especially if Michigan State is off the mark.
Jamal, there's a small percent chance that it can happen, but I don't think Western Michigan stands a chance. I think Peyton Thorne's going to want to beat his dad, and I think Jaden Reed's going to want to beat his old team as well, but it should be a good way to start the season. So what's your verdict? Let us know by commenting on the Sports Court Facebook post, and next week we might just call you out.
Last week we talked Notre Dame joining the Big Ten, and Thomas had quite a lot to say. The networks will put a lot of pressure to have Notre Dame play Michigan, Michigan State, Iowa, or Penn State over, say, Stanford, Navy, or Syracuse.
And Larry added, why not? Everybody else has those Western teams. They make no sense.
That's kind of geographically, that's true. Well, it would make no sense to miss next week. Until then, Sports Court is adjourned. All rise. Sports Court is in session. Welcome to another edition of Sports Court. Is the Lions' appearance on HBO's Hard Knocks a good thing or a distraction? Not really a big fan of this move. I know a lot of people out there love watching Hard Knocks. You love the stories you learn before a young football team and a second-year head coach. I'm not sure they can handle the distractions that come with this nationally televised series. Listen, I know that everybody thinks any publicity is good publicity, but the Lions need to take care of the Lions right now and need to be less concerned about putting on a good show for the national audience.
Well, Jamal, I definitely can see where the distraction comes in, but I, for one, think Dan Campbell is an absolute quote machine, and this is going to be a great time to watch for fans, and I think for people outside of the Detroit area, too. It brings a lot of eyes onto the team, and I think kind of builds up hype around this team that you're starting to see national media talk a little bit more about the Lions. Do I think they're going to compete this year? Probably not. But I think that's why it's a good time to do it, because this is not a time we're expecting them to go out and make the playoffs, but it's a time where they're still building and we still get to learn a little bit more about these young guys up and coming on the team.
You know what brings eyes to the team? Winning. You know what gets people interested in the Lions? Winning games. Don't you think that's more important than trying to get a few eyeballs during training camp, Nate?
Don't you want to see that hype build nationally? Because I think that's part of the rebuild, not just the fans wanting to see it, but the national TV and national media wanting to see, the Lions, maybe they're not that joke of a team anymore.
I mean, let's be real. The national media, the national fan base in the NFL, they've never cared about the Lions. The team plays on Thanksgiving and people only watch because it's the only show in town. I don't think the franchise can win people over and get people interested just by trotting out their quote machine of a coach or their quote machine of a running back in Jamal Williams. You want to get people involved, you want to get people talking about the Lions, win some football games for a change after Halloween. Do you really think that this franchise can handle cameras in their face 24/7 for the next 5 to 6 weeks? That's a tall ask for a team that doesn't do a lot of things right. All of a sudden, people are expecting the Lions to be entertaining. If you don't see it on the field during Sundays during the season, what makes you think you're going to see it for the next 6 weeks? I just don't think this team is ready for that type of national exposure. I think ultimately they'll be more of a joke than it'll be a good thing.
As we went through the season last year, Dan Campbell started to feel the heat about halfway through on his offensive coordinator. He took over that play calling duty. I think he likes that pressure. We saw the offense completely transform at the end of the season. I think that momentum is going to carry on. People love an underdog story, right? And I think this is the great time for the team to do it because, again, that pressure isn't on them to make the playoffs right now. Maybe a few years down the road, but right now they're just having fun and they're trying to rebuild this team, and I think this helps them do it. What's your verdict? Who do you think made the better argument?
Head to the 13 on Your Side Facebook page to comment, and next week we'll highlight our favorites. Like last week, we asked if you could reverse one moment in Michigan sports, what would it be?
Wayne said Eddie Murray missing the field goal against the 49ers in the playoffs.
I know our director Billy would agree with that. That's it for now. Sports Court is adjourned.
All rise. He's Jamal Spencer.
And he's Mark Skol Jr. Sports Court is in session. On the docket tonight in Sports Court, which is better, the NBA Finals or the Stanley Cup Finals? The Stanley Cup Finals are the greatest championship playoff format in all of professional sports. I know everybody has their opinion as to what sport is their favorite. Some people even like the Super Bowl because it's just one game. But for my money, the Stanley Cup Finals do it right because every single game, every shift is dripping in drama. You ever seen an overtime scoreless Stanley Cup Finals game? Every shot is must-see TV. The Stanley Cup Finals are where it's at.
Well, Jamal, if you like being a pig in a butcher shop and you feel like sweating all the time, then yeah. For me, I don't like stressing out when I'm watching sports. I like to enjoy my time, and that's why it's got to be the NBA Finals because, one, more people are watching the NBA Finals than the Stanley Cup Finals, and two, people want to see greatness. And if you look at every single decade, there's been greatness. Magic and Bird in the 80s. You got MJ in the 90s. The Spurs and the Lakers in the 2000s, and then in the 2010s, you got LeBron and the Golden State Warriors. You want to see greatness on the big stage, and that's what you always get in the NBA Finals, not necessarily in the Stanley Cup Finals. Why do you not think that many fans are tuning into the Stanley Cup Final as opposed to the NBA Finals?
It's all about the promotion of sport. The NHL has done a terrible job over the past decade or so getting itself out there, getting its stars out there, promoting itself. So the NHL has done a great job of adjusting that mark, putting itself back on the main stage, the NBA Finals and the NHL Finals both on ESPN and ABC. But I got to ask you this, you're talking about greatness. Does that just totally gloss over names like Jonathan Taves and Patrick Kane and what Steve Eisman and the Red Wings did in the late 90s? There's great hockey players achieving great things in the Stanley Cup Finals, right?
There definitely is, and you look at one guy in particular, Alex Ovechkin, the grade 8. He's done so well over his career, some people may think he could pass Wayne Gretzky in points scored, but he only has been to one Stanley Cup Final, and that's crazy to me. A guy like that should be in the Stanley Cup more often than just one time.
Mark has made the classic rookie mistake here in Sports Court of making my argument for me. When talking about Alexander Ovechkin's greatness, he mentions that he only has one Stanley Cup championship. You're right, because it's that hard to win. It is that difficult to be an all-time great NHL player and get your name on the Stanley Cup. It's not promised. That's what makes the Stanley Cup Finals so amazing because you know you are watching something that you might not ever see again.
Well, I like scoring, Jamal, and you get scoring in the NHL, but maybe 5 or 6 goals a game. In the NBA, you're getting scoring on every single possession. We're seeing guys from Michigan like Jordan Poole hit it from the parking lot. It's just more exciting to watch the NBA Finals.
So what's your verdict? Head to the Facebook page or text COURT to 616-559-1310 and comment, and next week we'll highlight our favorites.
Last week, Jamal and Nate debated if Draymond Green was a dirty player, and Evan said it was obvious, dirty as the bad boys were, and can't take it in return.
But everyone loves the bad boys. Mike put the answer on more of a spectrum, saying Bill Laimbeer may not think so, but Larry Bird probably does.
And they both would agree that you should come back to Sports Court again next week. Until then, Sports Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Sports Court is in session.
Sports Court. Recently, you all heard about UCLA and USC joining the Big Ten. But what about that school just down the road in South Bend? Is now the time for Notre Dame to join the Big Ten? I say absolutely. It's about time for the Irish to join the conference. I know they played in the ACC before, but geographically and everything else, historically, athletically, it just makes sense for them to finally join the Big Ten. And with NBC starting to add the Big Ten to their TV contract, now's the time.
I couldn't disagree anymore. I covered the Irish in South Bend. The one thing that's unique about being an independent team, especially like Notre Dame, you're on national TV every single week. If you join the Big Ten Conference, what happens when Notre Dame plays Rutgers and that game's on BTN Plus? No one's going to be able to see it. Notre Dame is a national brand that people want to see either win or lose on college football Saturdays. People won't be able to see them anymore. You get the Shamrock Series where they play in a unique football stadium every single season. You're not going to get that if you join a conference. You're not going to get to play Navy, which they've done for decades on decades. There are so many other factors in it, but that I think is the main factor. Now, Jamal, I know if Notre Dame joins the Big Ten, you'll get those rivalries like Purdue, Indiana, Michigan, Michigan State, but isn't it cool to have an independent team that's still kind of hated by everybody in college football?
No. I mean, we can hate Notre Dame no matter if they join a conference or not. Michigan fans are going to hate Notre Dame. Michigan State fans are going to hate Notre Dame. Matter of fact, if you join the Big Ten, you can continue those rivalries with Michigan, Michigan State, Purdue, and USC, among many others. That's 4 games right there against conference opponents. Fans are going to be able to see them even if they're on the Big Ten network, because you know they're not going to put the Irish on Plus. Well, when it comes to football, Notre Dame could still schedule Navy in the non-conference. They could schedule Stanford in the non-conference. They could still figure out a way to make it work. But it's not just about football. Geographically, it makes sense for all Notre Dame sports to be in the Big Ten. It's in the footprint of Big Ten territory. The only thing keeping Notre Dame out of the Big Ten is their own stubbornness to be independent, and they have that NBC money with that TV deal. Well, guess what? Now the Big Ten's cutting into that. So eventually it's gonna happen. And I say, what better time than right now for Notre Dame? Just come on home, join the Big Ten.
It's never going to happen, at least as long as athletic director Jack Swarbrick is still in charge there. It doesn't make sense, and you said that it's right to join the Big Ten Conference. Well, the ACC, that's where they play in basketball. You lose playing Duke, you lose playing North Carolina every year. Notre Dame won the ACC tournament in basketball in 2015, where they almost beat Kentucky in the NCAA tournament. There's just so many things to factor in this, and I just think Notre Dame's just not going to make that decision. All right, so what's your opinion? We want to hear it.
Head to our Facebook page to comment, and next week we'll highlight our favorite.
Last week we asked who will rank higher at the end of the season, Michigan or Michigan State, and the results in the jury poll were, well, sorry, Jamal.
To be expected. Michigan has a super soft schedule this year. They might be undefeated when they play Michigan State, or even undefeated when they play Ohio State. I get why people say that, but that's why you play the games. We'll see what happens. Until next time, Sports Court is adjourned. Now, one more thing before we go. I know it's hard to believe, but we're not perfect.
So we have a collection of the errors and fumbles we've made for you to enjoy. Here are some of the latest Sports Court bloopers. I gotta say, is there any other specific moments? I mean, when I think of oh God.
Until then, Sports Court is adjourned. Mine. Yeah, that was kind of funky with the color. What happened behind me here? If you don't fall asleep on the prompter, Bill, we can do this in one take.
Join us as we tackle the case. Is the 2020 Pistons draft? Oh, what is it? Sorry, not one.
No,
take.
it's all right. We didn't get past the first part.
Join us as we tackle the case. Did the 2022 NBA?
You don't have to say the years. This week we're arguing is USC's and.
What's on this? Wait, sorry.
Sorry, he messed up the first time. It made me laugh. It made me laugh. I'm sorry. This week, Mark and I are going head to head over whether or not. All right.
That's what you get.
It's my fault. It's my fault. It's my fault. You're right. Instant karma.
So join the jury when court is in session. In sports court. Oh, sorry. I always mess this up.
High school football is already underway. College football season starts soon. Well, I gotta remember when's this gonna air. It's gonna air tomorrow? All right. Just like everything else, those opinions are wrong.
Oh, okay, never mind. Exactly.
We'll do that again.
I didn't know what that was.
Me neither. Thanks for joining us for this collection of Sports Court cases.
And catch us Thursday nights at 11 on 13 on Your Side. Until next time, Sports Court is adjourned.